Resuming. Nerd. World. Order. Broadcast. Dynaphones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the...
Booyah, what's up? It's your boy Joe, baby.
And to my other right, weighing in at 178 adamantium-filled pounds, coming straight out of Krakoa, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Adamantium.
So in this episode, we've been in the episode for all of 1 minute and 9 seconds. Alfonso has his first attempt at an X-Men reference. I'm sure that he was really excited watching Captain America Brave New World because it had adamantium, the metal that was made popular by a certain Canadian, as a prominent plot device in this movie. So if you haven't been able to tell by my t-shirt, or Alfonso's adamantium reference, we are going to be discussing, spoilers, Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. If you're watching this on YouTube, Alfonso has his own shield, and he's doing everything he can to let us know he has a shield. Now he's holding it. I don't know. Now it's a UFO. I don't know what he's doing with it. No, we don't know. We just let Alfonso do his own thing, especially at the end of the episode when we say final thoughts. He just does his own thing. I was really excited about this movie. If you listen to the other episode, you know that. Joe, what were you thinking going into this one?
I hope it's better than Phase 4. That's the only thing I was hoping for. Just be better.
And was it?
Yeah, I think it was. It's a good start for Phase 5.
Okay.
Is it now? The question is it a good start for Phase 5, or was Phase 4 was so bad it just made it even better? Because it was a good movie, I think, on its own. But does it make it better because it's better than Phase 4?
Well, before we get too deep into that, just want to remind you all to take your spoiled milk out the back of the fridge, because if it were in the freezer, it wouldn't be spoiled. Alfonso drinking his moonshine. Nice. Ladies, gentlemen, and knights, there will be spoilers. So, Alfonso, what did you think going into it?
Well, I mean, I was definitely excited to see it. You know, I've got that big hope of this is going to be the Marvel movie that brings us back. You know, this is going to be the one. And I mean, they had a pretty good, just like a bunch of characters going into it. I was concerned because, of course, there were rewrites, there were reshoots, but you know, I was excited to see it.
You know, speaking of rewrites and reshoots, the director of the film just came out and said there was only one reshoot. I think he's, as Joe might say, he's capping or something like that. I don't know.
Captain America.
Because clearly this movie, I love this movie. Definitely love this movie, but it was a little bit disjointed. I'll say that. And it felt like it was like just kind of put together in such a way that it was like, oh, let's throw this in here, but it isn't. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff in that movie, and I would have just liked more Sam Wilson story in it, but I enjoyed it. So I think there was rewrites, reshoots. So as Joe would say, cap.
Yeah, I think if you think about it, I would have liked for them to instead of doing, like the Bucky storyline with Sam, just use those episodes to do the what they did with the Hulk, where they concluded everything. Like put that in that series, and then when he comes out with his movie, it's him, forming the Avengers and stuff like that. I think it's just like they could have did that in like in the series, because I think it would have been better, because you could have been able to do that and then start off, and then your stories wouldn't have been disjointed. To your point, I mean, it was like it was good, but there's some stuff where you just like, but it wasn't bad enough to make me go, it
Right.
didn't bother me.
Do you feel like this was almost like it could have just been a season 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I think the whole the takeaway from this movie is to show again, like, which I thought they, when, like at the end of the TV series, when he did his speech, that solidified him as like, the new Cap, because he had like a dope speech.
Mhm.
But I felt like in this movie, there's still that doubt over whether or not he can be just as good as Steve Rogers.
Mhm.
And so I think I would have enjoyed more if they focused more so on that. I felt like they just said, here, he's struggling with it real quick. And then next thing you know, he can't do that anymore. I think he's good in the sense of like Steve Rogers can motivate and talk to people, but I feel like Sam Wilson is better at articulating the thoughts to make them think about it, as opposed to like just jump in first. Because Cap would tell you like, I don't agree with it, and then I'm going to do it my way. Where Sam would be like, I'm going to do it my way, but I'm going to let you know this is why I'm doing it this way. And the way that you're doing it is not going to end so well. And I think that's the difference between those two Caps. But I think by the end of this movie, they do it pretty quick, but it does solidify him to be like the Cap. Like he's decided, I'm gonna take on the mantle and I got to do something. And, I think like in the next, when the Avengers movies come out, it's already going to be established. So the good thing about this movie, I think, they put that out of the way. Like he struggled with it. Now he thinks he can be the Cap finally, because the last scene with Bucky where he's like, bro, you got this. It's done. And so like now the next Avengers, when it comes out, he's going to be that leader, which you need. Avengers do need a leader.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is like this whole movie, like there was like talks of like, oh man, I should have taken that super soldier serum, but like nobody ever offered it to him. You know what I mean? So it's like that was something they probably should have put on the floor, like Ross being like, hey, we got this experimental super soldier serum. Maybe we should get it in you so you can be more Captain America. But it was never really offered to him. But he kept talking like it was, So that was kind of a little hole that I didn't like too much. But this movie seemed to just it's like it was like trying to close up a lot of loose ends throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You've got to finish up with the leader and the whole Hulk storyline. So that was kind of cool. Thunderbolt Ross, and you've got, what else was it closing up?
The Celestial.
The Celestial from Eternals. It's like, nobody's going to watch Eternals Part 2, so they had to close this up somewhere. And it got us adamantium. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And that's funny because there was a lot of talks about that for a while, that the Celestial was going to be where they got adamantium from. And it's really cool too, with there being a Celestial. Who else got his powers from Celestial technology? Apocalypse. So, that's there, who's to say he's not like coming up, under the water and trying to figure that out. And it'd have been nice to see that the Atlanteans were trying to get some of that power too, because, there's no way they could have been, nobody would have been able to stop them underwater. So it's like they could have made a little bit more of a play for it. It was pretty awesome to see the scenes with them, them in Japan trying to fight their way to it, and just the things, the way they pulled it off. I was pretty impressed with the movie. Yeah, sure, some of the CGI was a little weak at times, but I'm not super okay with it, but it was like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? It's cool. So I had a great time with this movie.
Another thing too, like to your point, like in the water, because Namor was really trying to, get the vibranium, you know what I mean? And it's like, bro, like adamantium is stronger than vibranium. And if it's in the water, like is he there? Like, what's he doing? It's like you kind of like they just like do okay, forget about Namor. Like you don't know what they're gonna do with it. You know what I mean? Because like
Right.
underwater, they have the advantage to your point, and it's like they could already be stocked up with all that stuff. You know?
And who's to say they're not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think that they actually were mining and they collected so much adamantium underwater that they didn't care what the surface dwellers did. That's what I'd like to think.
And
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty stoked with the fact that it was Japan vying for it. They're the one who had the sample because, of course, that's where the adamantium bonding process came from.
Mm-hmm.
That I forget the scientist's name. Oh my gosh, I forget it. But his daughter was created with Lady Deathstrike, right? And then they started working with the Canadians, and then they did the Weapon H program, and then they, boom, right in the Wolverine. So,
Yeah.
yes,
I got a question for you, Alfonso. So you
Yes, sir.
develop an adamantium bonding process, right?
Right.
You think to yourself, you know who we should align ourselves with? The Canadians.
What's that about?
Yeah, just a thought, not
Yeah.
the
Did
tech.
Weapon X happen in Canada though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But
Okay.
you know
That would
what's
make
funny
sense.
is the whole Weapon Plus program.
Mhm.
Captain America is Weapon 1. Weapon X is Weapon 10. So,
Mhm.
he's actually Weapon 10, but Weapon 1 is Captain America. You know what I mean? So, a little history there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's factual, but somehow it just doesn't. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, we did this, but like, okay, Captain America was made in what, the 60s, 50s,
Something like
well,
that.
50s,
Yeah.
40s, okay, and so that means that they were developing what, two, like they didn't develop that many people or that many weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems, a little bit like I get why Marvel did that. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
let's tie it all together. But it just doesn't make sense that they moved that slowly with the weapons project unless something else happened. But
Yeah.
Bruce Banner was also part of the weapons. Wasn't he like a scientist for the weapons project as
I,
well?
yeah, I believe so. Because all they were doing was they were just trying to make super soldiers. Because, of course, the Nazis were trying to make super soldiers. So it's like they had, just like, Russians were trying to get to the moon. We got to get there first. So, as soon as we hear word about it, we as Americans, we had to get on it too. So, and it's funny, it's like it all started, we'll say it started in America with a German scientist, right? Kind of like Albert Einstein. Um, but then it's like, well, it's like, oh, we're gonna shut it down. It's like, all right, well, we'll just slide it over the border past Canada, and we'll just keep going with it, and nobody will know. And it's like each program, not necessarily like each. There's a person per weapon, even though there kind of is, but it's like the program itself. Like when they made an advancement, it's just like 2.0. This is weapon 2.0. This is weapon 3. So it's like every time they did something a little different, and then they got a hold of that adamantium, and that's that bonding process. And I believe like Deadpool's like weapon 11. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but it's
Hmm.
kind of cool.
Meh.
Meh.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but I also find it to be lazy writing, like because I remember when I used to read X Force, you had like Kane, like I felt like you had all these people coming out of the weapons projects.
GW Bridge.
Yeah, well, he wasn't part of Weapon X, was he? He might have
He
been.
was
I
he
don't
was in
know.
Department H, I believe.
Okay, and I was going to say you also have Weapon H, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
which I don't understand. That just seems like total lazy writing. So, ladies, gentlemen, and knights, for those of you who don't know, it's the Incredible Hulk with adamantium claws. Overkill. If there couldn't be any more overkill, and just like how lazy do you have to be to give the Incredible Hulk Wolverine's claws and be like, they're gonna love this? Yeah,
And it's not Bruce Banner. It's just another Hulk.
yeah, it's just another Hulk.
Hmm.
'Cause,
There's a
yeah,
lot of Hulks. So
exactly, Joe.
Hmm. Yeah. And then like his suit's vibranium too. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yes, that was
gift from the
so
Wakandans.
cool.
Yep.
Yes, that was so cool. I just, I really just, for me, that made the movie
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that caused me to not question anything. I think there
Hmm.
was a scene where he punched through a wall, or almost punched through a wall. It's kind of like, maybe he did take that serum. But
Right.
Well, he
it
has
just
like
yeah.
he has that vibranium like Black Panther.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I think it's the same type of suit. And then also like in I think I'm not really familiar, but I think in the comics too, he his physique is just as strong as a superhuman, but he doesn't have the serum, is what they're saying.
Okay, I'll roll with that. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to ask King Lion. We'll see.
Yeah. 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 He'd be on one, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I'm
he's
not.
just he yells too much, bro. And he like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop doing it. And then the next video I see he's just screaming. I'm like, bro. And you know, like he's kind of like he plays whatever side. He thinks he's slick with it, right? Like he tries to turn makes it sound like he knows this stuff, right? Like he does know his stuff, but he's very slick with it, where he's just like, yeah, these guys give their opinions, but like I've said before, watch it for yourself. Don't take my opinion. I'm like, bro, you're just making content off their content, bro. Like, I know what you're doing, bro. Like, you're not fooling me. But he does know his stuff, but he's very trolly and stuff that he does, which I'm not mad at, bro. That's what he does for a living. So,
Yeah. I mean, if we eat up his content and we do, then
yeah.
he's doing something right. He just got a shout out on our podcast, which is like
Mhm.
free advertising for him.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
checks in the mail, King Lion. I expect our check in the mail.
Yeah.
But jumping back to the vibranium suit, it just made so many scenes in the movie possible. I don't
Mhm.
know, and I don't think they did consider that he was going to have to fight the Red Hulk prior to them giving him that vibranium suit. But man, it just created such a smart way for him to be able to stand toe to toe. Plus his
Mhm.
agility. Come on, man. Dude
Yeah.
was just so agile, dude.
Mhm.
Like next level. Everything
Mhm.
about his fighting, the suit, I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it.
That the vibranium uniform really did help level the.
Mhm.
Not, I mean, he wasn't on the same level as the Red Hulk, but there's no way he survived without that. No
Oh,
way.
yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
he couldn't fly away fast enough. The Hulk would have caught him. And
Mhm.
and I was pretty stoked with the Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross. It was cool to see Harrison Ford. It's like I don't know how many movies he's gonna be around for, but it's not a bad thing. Um, that Serpent Society too was supposed to be like a bigger part of this. I guess
Right.
what was that wrestler
Seth Rollins. Seth
Seth
Rollins.
Rollins? Yeah, he was supposed to be a part of
Mhm.
that team, and it was supposed to be so much bigger. But man, Giancarlo Esposito, that's all you need, man. That man is so, whew, he was tearing it up
Mhm.
I felt like he was wasted.
a little bit. Yeah,
Not to say he
Yeah.
wasn't good,
Mhm.
but I feel like he could have been used for a different movie where he actually
Mhm.
had a significant role. Now,
Right.
Alfonso often accuses people of being old, and I felt like what was his name? Constrictor. What was his
um,
name? Serpentor? No.
Serpent. Yeah, this I command.
Well,
Mhm.
well. Anyway, I felt like his character was
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder. There you go. He was awesome as an actor,
Mhm.
but overall, I just didn't feel like it was a good utilization of a actor of his caliber to have
Yeah.
10 minutes of screen time.
Right.
I think his only dope scene was like in the car scene,
Oh,
which was dope because you know, you get to see Sam Wilson fight without like no vibranium, no
Mhm.
shield, and like people like I don't know, people's thoughts is like they want him to have superpowers, but like nothing is more like it's um you have Batman and everyone thinks it's okay. Okay. Oh, it's okay
prep
for Batman to
prep
do it,
time.
right?
Prep time.
But just him fighting, he just has armor and stuff like that. And it's okay if Batman does his little dodges and away from Doomsday, and that's cool and stuff, and no one questions that, but when he's in his machine and he's fighting those little, I don't remember what they're called, the demonoids or whatever they're. But when Sam does it, it's like, oh, he can't do it. It's just like, dude, come on, cuh. Come on, cuh. Like, and I think that's what's dope because he doesn't have powers. His agility is dope. I mean, dude, every time he does that spinning two-legged kick and lands on it, that's so sick, dude. He's been doing it for a while. If you watch, like, since Civil War,
Yeah.
he's been doing it. Or maybe, yeah, no, he's done it in Avengers too. I remember him doing that. Like, he does, like, but he's been doing it for a while, so it's like his signature thing. And the way he fights too, it's like he doesn't have any powers, and it's dope. And like, it's to a point when Batman does it, everyone's like, "Oh, it's Batman."
Yeah.
But when he does it, you're gonna complain about it and be like, "Oh, he doesn't have powers, this and that, bro." Like, he's like a regular dude like us, bro, and he's getting down. Like,
Yeah.
when you
And the way-
see someone do that, you just like, bro, that could
Yeah.
be me if I really want it.
Yeah. And the way he utilizes his thrusters to just throw him into that kick or punch, and
Yeah.
just the shield bash, it's it's perfect. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect. And the fact that he has vibranium, it doesn't knock him out. It absorbs all the kinetic energy. And I love when, like, Red Hulk smashed him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I gotta expel this energy." Boom, blew it up. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome. So let's talk about Seth Rollins for a moment, because I don't know if the movie was initially too cartoony with the Seth Rollins scenes. I don't recall ever seeing Seth Rollins in costume, like if he had a big snake head or something like that, big cobra crest. But
Mhm.
such a missed opportunity, Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
Marvel, oh, God, Marvel, you're just dumb. Okay, Marvel,
Mhm.
you're just dumb. You're like, oh, well, let's take out this wrestler that
Mhm.
all the 25 to 50 demographic love, they want to see, they watch every week. Now he's on
Mhm.
Netflix, the largest streaming platform on the planet, right? And you
Yeah.
replace him with, excuse me for being Alfonso, you replace him with this old dude who may have the cinematic credentials, may have the acting credentials, but he ain't an action star.
Mhm.
You don't think of Giancarlo Esposito and think to yourself, "Oh yeah, he's going to give me some action." No, not at all. So I really feel like they missed the mark in not
Mhm.
keeping Seth Rollins and just modifying his role and just trying to throw in, like, "Oh, let's try to salvage this movie by putting a bigger name in it." Ain't no bigger
Mhm.
name in action than WWE. So keep
Yeah.
WWE stars in it.
Yeah. I mean, totally missed it because the one thing WWE does do when any of the wrestlers are in movies or TV shows, they promote the crap out of it, dude. And Seth Rollins right now is, getting ready to go on Elimination Chamber that leads to WrestleMania if he wins. So you could have easily had did so much Captain America promo on that, dude. Like, and he's got so much mic time now, trying to get his way to the main event of WrestleMania. And I just think, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're doing well right now. As far as the movie, and everyone's realizing how good it is, and it's making money. It's already made its money back, so that's a good sign. But yeah, like, they could have made so much more because people love Seth Rollins, and they would have watched them just to go see Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to
Uh,
hear about another missed
Mhm.
opportunity, real quick?
Yeah, let's
Uh,
do it.
Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. You know, what's her name? Nebula got Bucky's arm for Rocket as a gift. I mean, he should have showed up at the hospital scene armless, and he's like, I got to head over to Wakanda. Something happened to my arm. He didn't need to, just touch on that, and that would have been great for me because it's like he lost his arm. He's got to get a new one. So that would have been a good.
It's funny you mention that, Alfonso, because Alfonso is definitely the person that can find the humor in a situation, or even the mishumor. One of the complaints about this movie is that it wasn't goofy enough. It wasn't funny enough like the
Mhm.
other Marvel movies have been. But you know what? I'm not trying to watch no more kids shows.
Mhm.
Okay? I'm not trying to hear this goofy humor.
Mhm.
Uh Sam Wilson didn't have a goofy kid sidekick. Like, there was
Mhm.
nothing about this movie that was the standard. We're going to be goofy. We're going to throw a kid in there. We're going to make
Mhm.
this movie for kids. And even though they did miss a comedic opportunity, I feel like people are complaining it was too serious. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's what I saw with Captain America. That's what I saw with Iron Man. I'm not trying to see Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you look at the first two Captain America movies, they weren't funny.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were serious, especially Captain America 2, which was one of my favorites, The Winter Soldier. It was
Yeah.
like, it was dang serious. I mean, they had like kind of as much jokes as in this one. I just think, like we said all the time, I think it's because it's black, man. It's like you're critiquing every little thing that you didn't critique other movies in, man. So it's like, so that kind of gets on my nerves, bro. Like, no one's talking about, like, dude, your second main co-star is Hispanic, bro. Like, no one's talking about Joaquin, bro. So it's like, bro, like, how do you not talk about like your co-star Hispanic lead, bro, and you're badass in that movie, and like no one's talking about it, dude. You're having a black Captain America who's going to be the leader of the Avengers, who is black, and it's like, like I saw this one, like I don't even remember his name, dude. He's just stupid, dude. And he was like, oh, like on Black History Month, you're going to have a black thing. You're going to make a bad movie, this and this and this. And he does another video where he just goes, oh, yeah, Sam Wilson's my favorite Captain America. Dude, which is it, bro? Which is it, bro? The comments were flaming you, so you got to switch up, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Saying, like, you as a white person shouldn't be saying stuff like that. We should be saying stuff like that if we felt that way. You know what I'm saying? But we, as brothers watching this, we didn't feel that way. But white people always... And I mean respectfully, even though someone at work says whenever I say respectfully, it's not respectfully. Respectfully, stay in your lane, bro. You don't have the right to say something like that. You don't. Sit back and you let us say it, bro. We have the right to do it. You don't have the right to say any of that stuff, bro. And it's okay if you don't like a movie, you don't like it. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But if you have a mad following and they judge your opinions like their own, which you shouldn't be doing that. Just go find out for yourself, man. You're not watching the movie because some dude said it wasn't good or some woman that said it isn't good. Just go do it for yourself, man. And you find, and I'm glad people are starting to watch it now because in the beginning, so much hate. And now you look like it's turned around, bro. Like, and people are watching it because you're like, you know what, dude, let me just go check it out. So I'm happy because I feel like a black lead in a Marvel movie, he's finally his own thing. His first movie, he needs his flowers, man.
Yeah. So, there's two ways to look at this, right? Come on. We showed up for Black Panther 2, and that was trash, y'all. Come on.
Yeah,
so
we did, dude.
Come on.
It was
come
trash, bro.
Sir, you need to show up for Cap,
Yeah, bro.
And all my carnales out there, y'all disrespected
Blue Beetle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't give Blue Beetle a chance.
Yeah.
So you need to show up for my boy Joaquin, who's the new
man.
Falcon, okay? You need
he
to
did
show
dope.
up. Oh,
dude, he was dope, dude.
Yeah.
He was dope,
Yeah.
And then, like with like it's kind of cool because you had Falcon, then you had Steve Rogers, and then Bucky was always kind of like the third wheel at that point.
Uh-huh.
And then it's Cap and it's Bucky, and Bucky's still the third wheel, and then it becomes Joaquin and Sam, like they have like his partner in crime, you know what I mean? Like, at the end where he teaches them, hey, this is how I do that kick. You know what I mean? So like, Joaquin's about ready to do that kick, dude.
Yep.
And then, like just even the conversation at the end where he said, out of every superhero, he wanted to be, like the Falcon, so like for him to take on the mantle is like huge for him, so I thought that was pretty dope.
Hey, what was up with all these content creators who get, invited to the premiere? They get to go to a free movie. They get the red carpet treatment.
Yeah.
And then they all come back and bash on it.
Right.
And it's just like, what the heck, dude? And then people start watching it and like, and then after a while, they're like, oh yeah, you're like you were saying, Joe, it's like, no. I didn't like this part about it. I was just unhappy about this. Bunch of babies, dude. It's like, you're right. They can't stand on their own word. And honestly, I think they're just being angry about it because that's what drives content. It's easy to bash on something. It's super easy to bash on something, but to try to build it up, I sometimes even have a hard time with that. But it's like, I guess it's like maybe they're trying like, well, we're not sellouts just because we got to go for free. We're going to give you our real turn on it. But truth of the matter is, it's like I think they were just being extra hard because it's really easy to bash on Marvel right now. But this movie, it was, I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah.
Even your boy Soups was like,
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
disappointed. This movie's bad, this and this. And then your boy King Lion just lit him up. Is this the same dude that said the Flash movie was the best superhero movie ever? And
Oh,
it's
that's
just
right.
like, bro, like, I think people forget that they make videos. But then again, like, for me, like, I change my mind constantly, bro. So,
Yeah.
like, I'll say something and then I'll rewatch it again later on, or we'll talk about it. And I'm just like, I've had like where we've had discussions. I'm like, you know what, dude, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that is pretty dope. But I've also had stuff that I enjoyed, and through the discussion with you guys, I'm like, maybe that movie did suck. The more you talk about it, what I
Right.
mean? The more you talk about certain things, you either like it more, or you like, why did I even like it? It's like it. But I
Yeah.
feel like even though we dislike a lot of movies, we still try to find something good out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Because like, even though we bash Phase 4 all the time, there's some good stuff that came out of Phase 4. It's just, you know,
It's easy.
it just was like like it just didn't make sense in Phase 4. But there are some okay things that came out of it. But it's like, man, if it was like out of 10, maybe two, three things maybe came out that was
Yeah.
okay. If that.
Yeah.
All these content creators are like, they want to be that. Remember, like when Facebook and MySpace and all that started, you always had the person first,
Yeah.
first comment. That's what they're doing right now. And it's like they're getting caught in, foot in the mouth. And
Yeah.
good. It's time for new heroes to rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NWO.
I was NWO. I was thinking that Marvel. I went into this movie thinking that Marvel had made the same mistake that they made over and over and over again. They're trying to shove mediocre heroes down our throat,
hmm
instead of transitioning them in. But I feel like with Sam, if I step back and think about it, they introduced him in like small cameo in one movie,
hmm
gave him more of a role in another, in another, in another. Then they gave him his own show,
hmm
co-star. So he's probably, if you think about what I'll call the second wave of Avengers, who's not going to be a young Avenger, he's probably the most developed as far
hmm
as introducing the larger public to like knowing who this character is. Now,
hmm
to Joe's point, they could have made this more about his struggle and less about the Hulks.
hmm
Just sort of lead it off from there. But even with that, I'm still like
Yeah.
if you think about where he started and where he is
hmm
now, he started off as a sidekick. He was at first he wasn't even a sidekick. He was just
hmm
like some dude who Captain America was kind of like, "Oh, you have this jetpack here, right?" And then it kind of progressed to like, "Hey, I'm gonna help Cap out to transition into like modern society." Then he became the sidekick, and I just feel like it's probably, if you think about it, his transition from where he was to where he is now is as effective as that of like Captain America or Iron Man.
Right. I feel like he had to, out of all the actors, he had to do a lot of cameos before he got his own movie.
Mhm.
But my question that I'm gonna ask both of you is like, do you think this movie, as good as it was, should have spent a little more time with him trying to find Avengers? Like even like maybe at the end, instead of like, 'cause I felt like when he talked to the leader, he could have done that like not even an end credit. He could have done it like after he was talking to Harrison Ford. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That Harrison Ford conversation could have been while they were handcuffing him. You know what I mean? Like after the courtroom or something like that. And then, instead of having the scene with him and Harrison Ford, it could have been him and the leader. And then the post credit was him with Joaquin, in the computer room of his own office, looking up potential Avengers. I think that would have been cool,
Yeah.
to see like, kind of have like, how they do the projector computer screen where I have all the people that are possible that could be the next Avengers on his list. Because when are they going to find time to do that?
Right.
So like Thunderbolts is coming out, and I think Fantastic Four is coming out. What movies are going to have opportunity? Because like, are they going to do end credit scenes like I did with Nick Fury, where he just popped up and said, "Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing?" Like, which I would be okay with. Homage to like the original Phase 1. Him just recruiting at the end, and that would be the end credit scene. Building up for something.
Yeah.
Or they're going to do the Doom thing, but When do you guys think they're gonna have time to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think in credits, it's the perfect time to just do a little snippet, like you're saying. Like it's the perfect time to build, start the the foundation of something new, and it's perfect. But there'd be all the naysayers like, oh, they're just copying what they did before. But in actuality, I mean, that's the best time to do it. What are you going to do? Make a whole Disney Plus series about it?
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I really love the way they did that. This would have been a perfect opportunity, and they had that one very very in credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, they usually have two. It's like they could have done something. You could
Yeah.
have had him go, meet up with Bucky and like, let's go, or
Mm-hmm.
anybody else. Um, Fantastic Four. I mean, they could still do it in Fantastic Four because, in all honesty, it's like sometimes some of these in credit scenes that really didn't even have anything to do with the movie. You
Yeah.
know, um, I mean, I'm just gonna say they should hold out for X-Men.
Well, I mean, that is a good way to look at it, but Joe, I very much disagree with that. What you just said.
Hmm.
I'm lying, dude. That's some genius right there, bro.
Really? That wasn't bad.
No, dude. Seriously, that's genius, bro. Because I feel like they they alluded to it. You want to get people hyped up over
Mhm.
Phase 5, right? And
Yeah.
we know that most of Phase 5 is going to be uh, Doomsday, Secret Wars, Fantastic Four, introduce the X-Men. Okay, but you know what? You can't mention, oh, we're gonna create a new Avengers and then just, oh yeah, let's not mention that again. No, dude, into the
Mhm.
movie, kind of like when Batman was putting together the Justice League, and at the end he had the computer there where like there was a scene of the Flash, and he was
Mhm.
like, dude, it could be something like that. Now,
Right.
honestly, I can't think of who would be in the Avengers right now because I
Mhm.
feel like they're spending all their time building up young Avengers
Right.
Mhm.
that there's nobody left for the Avengers right now.
Well, basically,
But yeah, go ahead.
basically anybody they can use right now is going to be in Thunderbolts, so that's probably why they didn't do anything.
Well, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
I
even
mean,
Thunderbolts, bro, didn't they miss the opportunity, bro? Like you could have had Punisher in there because Punisher, he's reprising his role. He's gonna be in Daredevil, and he's a
yeah,
Thunderbolt. Like you, and then if you want to do Ghost Rider, I mean, you could have used the Ghost. You know, what I mean, it's just no one wants to see the Taskmaster. Who's the other one, dude? Like I think it's Taskmaster.
Ghost.
And then the one from Ghost. No one wants to see them, man.
But Yelena's so awesome.
I
I
love
do like
Yelena.
Yelena.
I like and I like Bucky.
Yeah,
Yes, me too.
I like what's his name?
Red
The
Guardian.
Red Guardian. Yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty cool too.
He
Just, just,
is.
just because the actor's dope, you know. He,
Yeah.
you know, it's like a
Totally
knockoff
the
Captain
actor.
America, bro. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you know what's pretty cool? Nate and I have been watching. We've been watching the Captain America movies. We just finished Civil War, so we started watching um, Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we're just going back, backwards. And it was really cool because Nate, we're watching that scene where Bucky goes and kills Iron Man's parents. Spoilers. And Nate's like, "Wait a minute, we just saw that in What If?" And I'm like, "Yes, we
Yeah.
did. Good eye, son."
yeah.
So he's coming into his own. My
That's
little nerd.
awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. But uh now that you guys are mentioning it, it's funny because it doesn't seem like they actually have plans to create a new Avenger team. Only
Mhm.
one you could really think of would be Spider-Man, and maybe
Yeah.
some of the street levels that they're not using
And
over on the
Shuri,
Netflix series. Who?
Shuri, Sentry. You know.
Well, yeah, definitely Sentry.
Right.
Uh, they just need to get rid of Shuri.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, isn't like it's next year, right? The Avengers, isn't it next year? It's 2026,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Probably gonna
bro,
all be
like,
young.
Yeah.
do you maybe what if they just use the Young Avengers as the Avengers? You know what I mean? Maybe that's what they're gonna do because it's just easier.
Well, that's what they got. I mean, what
Because
else
look,
they
dude,
got?
like they got Thor's already done. You don't have Iron Man.
Mhm.
I don't think they're gonna have Hulk. You know, but you have She-Hulk. You know,
And Red Hulk.
yeah, and then
And
you
Scar.
and then you know, like Hawkeye's done, but you have like the new
Kate
Hawkeye.
Bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's probably what they're gonna do.
Yeah. I could definitely see them using Red Hulk
Mhm,
because of the relationship that Sam Wilson
mhm.
and Ross have put together. So
Mhm.
yeah, I could see that. She-Hulk would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of hate for that show, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't
Yeah.
bother me too much with the woke stuff that they were doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I have my own little temperature gauge where I'm just like, dude, come on, but it didn't really
Yeah.
bother me.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting now that you guys pointed out Thunderbolts and Young Avengers have been
Yeah.
taking up a lot of the potential Avengers. It's pretty
Mhm.
interesting. Wonder what they're gonna do with that. Um, yeah, dude. So
We still got Doctor Strange and we've got Vision.
Yeah. Well, the White Vision, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why you gotta be white?
Because he's all white. And, like he changes, he gets his paint or whatever. And I think they said they're bringing back Scarlet Witch too.
Yes.
that'd be cool.
That would
Hopefully
be
she's
cool.
not OP.
Yeah.
Well, she is OP though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I hope
Yeah.
she's because they acknowledge the fact that she's OP in the comic books,
Mhm.
kind of like in the movie. So if they bring her back, is she gonna be toned down a little bit
Yeah.
where she can't just kill everyone by herself?
Well, I think like I don't know, dude. You know how people just talk about storylines and stuff.
Mhm.
She might be used by the Doom to manipulate reality and stuff like that. So
Okay, that could be cool.
gets tricked again. Kind of
Yeah,
sucks. She kind of sucks, bro. She gets tricked, bro. You know what I mean?
Or she could be like
yeah,
Spider-Man where she's like too afraid to use her full
Yeah.
potential,
And like
Maybe she'll use it.
even though people hate on her, bro, I enjoy Captain Marvel. Like you could have even just had Captain Marvel at the end of with Sam Wilson at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because you're gonna need like a power. You need it because you had Thor, right?
Yeah.
And you had Hulk. So, if you don't get Red Hulk, who are you gonna have? I mean, you have She-Hulk, and then who's next? Captain Marvel.
yeah. I assume they would just say she's off world, because isn't that the issue with Thor? Because Thor's off world right now.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They
but
got
yeah.
But he
photons
says
too.
he
She's
wants
not
to do another movie too,
Oh
because
yeah,
he's
they're
like, to our point, he's like, his last one, he felt like because it was too funny, that's not Thor, and he's upset with that movie, which I'm glad because you're like, bro, come on.
yeah, yeah. And Hemsworth, people don't respect how good of an actor he
Oh
is,
yeah,
but
uh-huh.
yeah, he's good, man.
He's
Well, he's
awesome.
very good. He
Yeah.
was good in Furiosa. I watched that the other day. I enjoyed it.
Oh, it was funny.
It made me watch the because it's a prequel. It made me watch Mad
Mhm.
Max again just to see the finished story.
Yeah,
Because it's like I remember you had told me it stops where the other one begins.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, totally. So, yeah, dude. One thing that we haven't really covered is the villains.
Mhm,
Now, to me, they don't have to say like the villain is
mhm,
necessarily like here's how I look at it, right? It's kind of like Sam was just doing minding his own business, doing his job, and he just kind of stumbled onto something, right?
mhm,
And so since he stumbled onto it, he like the leader kept saying, like, hey, you know what? You weren't initially part of my equation,
mhm,
right? So I feel like people are like, oh, well, this is a Hulk villain and he's a Hulk villain. Well, I think that's kind of cool because
mhm,
normally when someone makes a movie adaptation of whatever, they're like,
mhm,
oh, it has to have his arch nemesis in it. But in this one, it was kind of like Sam's like just stumbles into something and he has to like stop a villain from completing his
mhm,
plot. So I was like, this is cool, dude. It's different.
mhm.
Now the leader himself, man.
They could have made him look better. I think that's where the CGI is bad.
Yeah.
Like, because he's so much better in the comics. Like
Yeah.
That big
you
old
couldn't make
head.
him better than that, bro. It looked like Heavy Caval's mustache, bro. Like, come on.
That should be the next villain.
You're like that was I think out of all the CGI, that's the one thing that got me more was every time the leader showed up because he
Yeah.
was better in the shadows. Now here's a thought. If you think about it, the leader is responsible for everything that's happened in the Marvel universe, right? Because the stuff that he did, the probables and all that stuff led to Ross becoming the president. So if you look at Ross had his dabs on everything, right? The Sokovia Accords, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
That could be the leader. The probability if you do this because he was the one that pushing it. You know what I mean? And Baron, the Baron, like he could have had an issue with Baron, right? Because the Baron couldn't have done everything by himself to get in the opportunity where he had that power outage right there, right? He's not that smart enough to do something like that. But you know who is the leader with the probabilities, and each thing that happened thus far led to Thaddeus becoming the president. And you
Mhm.
look at everything that's happened in the Marvel universe that's been tragic. If you look at the percentages for him to be the president and stuff, the Avengers have to fall apart. And
Mhm.
so, like, you could make the argument that the leader was indirectly responsible for all that stuff because he helped Thaddeus. And that would have been dope if they just would have included like flashback scenes of each integral part of that and then connected it to where you're like, whoa, the leader was a part of, he affected all
Yeah.
that stuff to where it leaded. Now I think that would have been dope.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not too late, Marvel.
That's
Take
actually a
notes.
good idea. You know who was missing though, and I can't remember their name. Peggy Carter's niece.
Oh,
Who
Oh
was
yeah,
the
people were
power
upset about that
broker.
because she's done. But you know what though? She was done when they made her a villain. It's like, that wasn't, like, I'm mad, so I'm gonna be a big arms dealer.
Yeah.
but didn't she like get away?
She
Like
did.
Yeah, she did,
so
and then she's part of some other organization. But I think like because it was so bad, they changed the direction of that. You know, and then
yeah,
like she's not relevant no more because she, like in the comics, she is with Captain America, but in this universe,
yeah.
Cap went back to Peggy.
So, but if Cap went back to Peggy, isn't that his niece or maybe even daughter?
Yeah,
Crickets.
because you think about it, like yeah, you could make that argument,
Yep.
but then it's just like who else was Cap's kids? Like, if did they have kids? Can he have kids? Or do they have powers too? Like, you don't know.
Yeah. I know in the comic book he has a son. I've
Mhm.
read a few issues with that. With like, I want to say him and his son were trapped somewhere, but Sam was Captain America. So I know he
Mhm.
has a son. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't even know who the mother is. So there's that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And Red Hulk as like the Red Hulk is a villain. He wasn't exactly a villain.
No,
He was just like I don't know.
he's just dealing with his new powers.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, did he intentionally get those powers? I wasn't sure about that.
No, because the leader like snuck it on him. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save your life with these pills for your heart,"
yeah,
and he's like, "Gamma, gamma, gamma."
yeah. He was just feeding them all that stuff.
He's playing Yo Gamma Gamma.
But see, here's the thing, right? The Bruce Banner's Hulk
Uh-huh.
is actually, and Devlin pointed this out really well. It's a dissociative identity disorder.
Right.
So I get what they were doing there, and I mean
Mhm.
it's canon, it's comic book canon, but it's like, oh, he fed me a bunch of gamma pills, which ultimately led to me becoming the Red Hulk. Now, first of all, the Red Hulk, based on what I've seen previously, reading in the comic books, he doesn't turn into some raging beast.
Yeah,
He retains his intellect.
yeah,
So I thought that part was kind of, lazy
mhm,
writing.
yeah,
Maybe in future, once the Red Hulk
mhm,
becomes an Avenger,
Mm-hmm.
then perhaps at that point he can have a little
mhm,
bit more intellect.
yeah,
But yeah, that part didn't work for me. And I
Uh,
feel like I'm just gonna feed him gamma pills and that
yeah.
changes him. No, that's didn't make any sense.
I think it's just to show the development between the Thaddeus, right? Because he's always been aggressive in his pursuit of like the Hulk and superpowered people.
mm,
And this is his arc of him changing who he is to be better, to have a relationship with his daughter. And I think the pills of him being angry for him to turn into the Red Hulk
mm-hmm.
solidifies that to where where at the end Sam can talk him down, make him remember to show how he's changed and he's not as angry as he is. And I think that's why they did that,
Yeah.
just to solidify how anger can overwhelm him, but he's trying to make that change. It's kind of like a redemption arc for him, and I think that's why they did that.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
That's rather smart.
Quick question for you guys: was Liv Taylor CGI?
No,
No, she was in there.
yeah, she was totally in there.
Yeah, they did an interview where they were like asking her, is she happy to be back?
Mm,
But a
Yeah.
lot of people are saying that they missed the opportunity because she could have been the one to talk down the Red Hulk.
I thought that's what they were going to do.
So did I. But you had to have a moment with Sam, who's a regular person, using, like what he's always been. Like when he was in the, like the group of like veterans and stuff of how he's like, hey, the floor is kind of hard, right? You can't sleep on the bed because it feels like, you know what I mean, like you're sinking. So for him to talk him down is like shows him how much of a leader he is, and motivator to like, get his point across to talk you down. You know what I mean? Like he has that good, mindset of like being able to talk things out. And I think they needed that. But then again, if they did with Liv Tyler at the end, dude, it's cliche. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so like I'm glad they didn't do that. And like she ended up showing up, and like in the cage. I can't remember the name of it. The
Raft.
raft. Yeah.
Raft, yeah.
I half expected Sam to be like, the sun's getting real low.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course we have someone who was like a villain for 5 minutes, then she kind of switched sides, which was General
Sam.
Ross's secret
Yeah.
service person.
Hmm.
Like,
So
I just
originally,
hated her.
originally she was supposed to be this mutant. Her name is Saber,
Mhm.
and
I think that was a different person that they didn't.
well, they had to scrap
They
it
cut it
because of all
out,
the
yeah.
conflict in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
scrapped it, and then like, oh, we got extra Black Widows, Red Room, throw her in.
Hmm.
But I think they should have got somebody a little more. She didn't seem super intimidating. She was just,
Because she was tiny.
she was
Yeah.
too tiny.
Initially that
She wasn't
bothered me,
Yeah.
but I think that was kind of the point. Was
Yeah.
she was small, but
Oh my
she was still formidable
Yeah.
based on her training and confidence.
Hmm.
Which, if you think about what you're putting together,
Yeah.
you have Sam, who's a normal guy,
Yeah.
right, and is resisting the option of using something to become super. You
Mhm.
have Joaquin, who is just learning his ability about, like his suit, learning how to do everything. So his confidence, like when he had to apologize for getting,
Mhm.
it's like, and then you have, the security specialist.
Mhm.
She's not what you normally expect.
Mhm.
And she fits right into the dynamic of the movie, where it's like, okay, these aren't your normal people you expect to come save the day, but this is what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they missed the opportunity too because like, it'd have been dope to have Yelena work for the government.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Trying to be like her sister,
Mhm.
and that would have been dope because then she could be yeah, you want her to be a Thunderbolt, but I think like you could have had her in there with Sam, and then after everything goes on, and then Bucky goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you." But I'm sure that's going to change the story of like the Thunderbolts because it's not what happens. But you could have had like people that do miss, because I'm one of them that miss Scarlett Johansson. As Black Widow. It'd have been, but I like Elena. It'd have been dope to have her like, and dude, it's like tradition, bro. Like, Scarlett, which was in like Captain America. You know what I mean? That was like Cap's like best friend almost.
Yeah.
So that'd have been cool.
You know why that didn't happen the way you described it, which is awesome? Because there's still no planning. See
Yeah.
how you just weaved everything together perfectly. Yelena
Yeah.
sees Bucky.
Yeah.
Bucky, they talk for a little bit.
Mhm.
Later on, you move into Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Bucky's building a team. He's
Mhm.
like, I saw Yelena here. Boom.
Yeah.
Natural progression.
Mhm.
Even if at the end of the end credits, right? Bucky's like, he's like, hey, I'm here.
Mhm.
We're putting together this team. Boom. Right.
Yeah.
So it feels like the Avengers, right? Hey, I'm putting together this team.
Mhm.
But then it's the Thunderbolts. That would have been dope.
Yeah.
But there's no planning.
Yeah. Because there's
wheels are
no
turning.
planning. Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I really feel like, if we were starting to look at final thoughts here,
Mhm.
I would very much recommend this movie. And I would say forget the haters, capital F on that, forget the haters. Go and watch it for yourself. Now, if you
Mhm.
don't like it, okay, I'm not going to label you as anything other than a person who doesn't have good taste in movies, but you deserve to watch a movie, make your own decisions, because I feel like there's a trend in social media and
Mhm.
there's a trend with movie critics to want to bash certain products. They feel like they're too intellectual to want to lend their name and credibility to something that's developed for mass consumption, something that would
Yeah.
be a summer blockbuster, something like that. This movie has progressed and been as successful as it was based on word of mouth. So, my word of mouth, the mouth that likes to talk way too much, is forget the haters, forget the critics, even the ones I love and respect. Check this movie out, and you're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah. I agree.
How about you, Alfonso?
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean,
Mhm.
this movie was they were trying to make it fail. So many people were against
Yeah.
it, and you know, it was a credit to the nerd on the street. You know what I mean? Everybody got the word out there. Everybody started watching it more and more. The Rotten Tomato score went up and up, and it's like people were trying to get it to fail, and it fought back. So
Joe.
Yeah. I mean, stop having a full course meal and critique every bite. This doesn't have that. It should have did this, should have did that. Does it taste good? That's what they need to bring back, bro. Stop critiquing any little thing about it. What could have been better? Is it good? When you eat it, does it taste good? And if it tastes good, then it's a good meal.
And this concludes this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, I am NWO.
we are NWO.
Nerds redefined. Booyah!